So I'm going to show you some things about how to code lab8, which will be using another platform called gorilla.sc. And I mentioned previously, we've been, over the summer, I did a lot of prepping for this course, and I spent way more time prepping using SciToolkit than in gorilla.sc, because gorilla.sc, if you send out a link to a participant, the data file goes to a server, and in order for you to get the data file from the server, you have to pay money. Whereas SciToolkit, all the data files you get for free. And so we focused on SciToolkit because it's just more practical for us. But I did want to give you exposure to another platform, gorilla.sc, which in some ways is more powerful than SciToolkit. There are some ways I actually like SciToolkit better, but gorilla.sc clearly has some features that SciToolkit does not. Another important thing about gorilla.sc is it mostly uses a graphic user interface. So I'm going to show you what I've done on gorilla.sc related to lab8. So for lab8, we are going to be programming a study in which we present words to the left or right hemifield. And participants' job is just, the words appear really quickly, and so they're kind of hard to see. And the participant's job is to look at a fixation point, and then the words are going to appear either in the left visual field or the right visual field, and then to type in the answer. So I will show you several things. I will, basically, you see these 3 tabs right here. These are both Gorilla tabs. This is like the first thing I programmed as preparation for this experiment, was just learning some very basic things about how to sequence events throughout the experiment. Like, how do you make the instructions go here? Then how do you make the trials go here? And how do you make it so that it repeats, the trials the right amount of times? So just some very basic thing. Oh, another thing that's important about this is where it played a video, and then at the end of the video, you could make it so that the screen asking you to type in the answer appears at the right time. So this was just a very basic code where I was learning how to do that. And then for preparation for this lab, I've coded the exact lab, basically, exactly. And I'll show you some of the things here. And then I will also show you how to code things here. So when I get to showing you this right here is a completely blank Gorilla file. So I created a new file, and I'll code aspects of the experiment from the very beginning, so you'll actually see it. I guess the warning is basically I've programmed a very basic version of this, and I have programmed recently a working version of the lab, and now I'm going to program it again. And so I have definitely done it before, and I have this practice, but this will probably not be 100% perfect. But yeah, we'll try and code this lab. First, I'll show you where the stimuli are. So all of the stimuli for this laboratory are on Blackboard, linked to folder with lab8 stimuli. So this is a Google Drive folder. You'll copy and paste that into your browser. And then when you open it up, it should look like this. There are 9 files. MP4s are movie files. So that's the stimuli. We've only used pictures previously. Another thing about gorilla.sc is it's better at dealing with movies. So these are stimuli, which are movies. I made them in Adobe Animate, and there's 8 of them. Maybe I'll play one real quick. Yeah. So there's a fixation point in the middle, and then the word appears either in the left visual field or the right visual field. So there's 8 words. 4 of them are in the left visual field, and you can see those files have an L. Like this is a stimulus, the stimulus bike in the left visual field, the stimulus chef in the right visual field. So here the correct answer is the participant typing in bike. Here the correct answer is the participant typing in chef. These are the different movie files. And there's also a fixation point. So there's a fixation point in the movies but there will also need a fixation point for when the movies are not being played. And so that's what this file is for. And so there's 9 files total. And the way to get started is when you open this is a blank Gorilla, when you open a very new, like a new task. This is a new task. You can see the word task right there. This is what you see. And so really the first thing, you should go to Blackboard, download the stimuli folder for lab 8, and then you'll go to stimuli right here once you've created a task in Gorilla, and then add new stimuli, and then browse. And then I'm already, in the folder, so then you would click all of the stimuli. And upload. All right. So it looks like they are all there. Okay, so we just uploaded the 9 stimuli right here. This is into the new task. I'll point out we have the new task that we're coding right now, and then this is the old version, the one that I've already coded. It's like a completely working version of the task that we're supposed to create. So we've uploaded the stimuli into the one we're working on now, the new one. And we need to start building on the task structure. So here's what the task structure is supposed to look like. At the beginning, there's instructions. Click on that. These are the instructions. On each trial, you will maintain your gaze on the fixation cross in the middle of the screen. A word will appear briefly to the left or right of the fixation cross. At the end of each trial, type the word you saw during the trial in the provided text box. If you don't know the answer, take a guess, but try your hardest to get the spelling correct. Press Next to begin the trials. That's the instructions. Then this first screen right here, this is where the movies play, right here. So the movies play and the instructions play based on a spreadsheet, which is shown right here. So here is the final spreadsheet. So the one that we have in our new one that we're coding is going to be much smaller than this. The spreadsheets kind of expand as you're working. I'll show you how to do that. So this first row, this is when the instructions play. And then each remaining row is the trials. And we'll type things in. You can see they're green here. That's good. They start out white. When they turn green, that means that they match something else within the code. And that usually means they're going to play and everything's going to work okay. So when they turn green, these are good. The answers don't have to be green. So these are kind of the way the spreadsheet will look. Let's go back to the task. This is, once again, the already coded one right here. So we play the movies from this little screen right here in the trials box. The movie plays and it lasts for about 4 or 5 seconds. Part of that movie playing is the word appears, there's a fixation cross in the middle, and the word appears either to the left or the right of the fixation point. And then about 2 seconds after the word appears, the movie just ends, and then everything disappears. And then as soon as it ends, the split second it ends, then it moves to this screen right here where 4 different things appear simultaneously. So this thing right here is the button Next. This thing right here is a fixation cross, a picture of a fixation cross. So there's a fixation cross in the movie, but when the movie ends, the fixation cross in the movie disappears. So we need to put a fixation cross in the exact same position that it was in the movie, and that's what this is right here. So the movie disappears, there's still a fixation point. So there's like kind of 2 different fixation points throughout the whole trial. The first one from the movie, and then the last part is just a picture of a fixation point that appears in the same place as the one in the movie did. Then we have a text box, and it basically says a simplified version of the instructions. Type the word you saw during that trial in the provided text box. If you don't know the answer, take a guess. but try your hardest to get the spelling correct. Press next to begin the next trial. By the way, please note that around all the text boxes, I have these H2s. This is a way of kind of coding that will make the font. You can adjust the font, H2, H3, H4, changes the font in the text box. So this is like 2, which is kind of a small font. If you have no H2s there, it'll actually be even smaller than it appears. H3 bigger, H4 bigger, bigger the number. And then finally up here, this is the place where the participant types in their answer. This is the text box that they type into. All 4 of these things appear the instant the movie ends. All 4 of these things appear. So let's go ahead and preview the task, like the already coded version. Okay, there's the instructions, look good. Chef. Bike. Leaf. That one's always hard for me. Mark. Foot. Tree. I'm not going to press next yet because we're almost done. I just want to point out these are the 4 things. The movie plays, and then as soon as the movie ends, everything in the movie disappears, and then these 4 things appear. This fixation point right here is just a picture file, whereas the fixation point that appears right before all this stuff appears is the fixation point, which is part of the movie file. So there's, once again, 2 different fixation points. They're in the exact same locations. I lined them up, but there's a fixation point from the movie and the one from the picture file. The picture file one appears simultaneously with the next button, this text right here, and then the text box where the participant can type in their answer. Continue on. Silk. I completely missed that one. I should know it though. I should remember. I don't remember if I was typing X's. Oh wait, no, I'm not supposed to do that. Slug. That's what it looks like. I know it's not slug. Slug. It's almost definitely wrong. Okay, we're done. So let's look at the data file. Click on XLX. That means Excel. And here it is. You go all the way to the right, and the correct answer on each trial appears. It appears multiple times. We just have to deal with it. It's okay. Like chef appears 3 times. Bike, it's okay though. And then here's the stimulus on each trial. Once again, it shows appearing 3 times, but it's okay. Chef R, bike L. So this is the word chef in the right hemifield, the word bike in the left hemifield, and all these different stimuli. These are the answers right there that I typed. So we can do little if-then statements if we want to compile this. Equals if the answer right here equals what I typed in. Oops, it's not equals. Equals what I typed in, then a 1 means correct. Otherwise, it'll be false. That'll be false. Then we'll just go ahead and copy and paste this all the way down. So yes, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, so I got 7 out of 8 trials correct. I did miss this one at the bottom. The correct answer was ring. I put slug, so that is not correct. It would be yeah, right here. That is a false. So that's the data file. So we need to do that. We need to make it do all that. So that was the task that's already been completely coded. So here's the one where all we've done so far is upload the stimuli. Now we need to start modifying the task and the spreadsheets. This is what the spreadsheet looks like at the beginning when nothing's happened yet. So we need to start modifying the task structure. We need to add the instructions right here. Then we need to add the movies right here. Then we need to add that one box where all 4 of those things appear at the same time. So let's add the instructions. We will call this instructions. And then once the box is there, you click on the plus on the inside of the box. And for this one, we'll do rich text. So rich text is that. So that's text that you're going to type in, and then that's the button next. So this is templates that appear, and we're going to choose that template for the instructions. Words that appear, and then a button that lets the participant push it and then go on to the next thing. So we'll click on that just appeared. And then now we will modify what appears. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and copy and paste it out of the right answers over here. So I'm back at the original one with the right answers. Let's see. If we click on the instructions right here, open it up. Oh, I have to type edit. I just saved this, and so it's not going to let me get into the instructions unless I allow myself to edit. So, by the way, since I'm talking about the way you save is by pressing commit. That's the way you save. So now I can get into here. So I'll copy and paste this. Press OK. Then I'll go back to the one we're working on. Paste in here. Notice the H2s because that controls the font size, and H2 works pretty well for this one. And you're going to type it into the static portion right here. Press OK. So once again, we're right here during the instructions text box. You click on here, you click on this thing, and there's all these different options. We're only going to be using static and spreadsheet. Static, you type the thing in. If it stays the same, the whole experiment. The instructions, they just occur one time, and you're going to do it. It's always going to be these exact same instructions that always occur at this exact same point in time at the very beginning of the experiment. So we choose static. And this one, let's take a look. It should be good. Oh, yep, create a spreadsheet. So let's take a look at that spreadsheet. It automatically created it for us. This is what the spreadsheet looks like. So we need to add something. Actually, we need to do. We need to go to the tasks. So display. We're going to add the word instructions. And it's green, I think. Yep, that's green. That's a good sign. That means it recognizes that. So now let's see if it'll let us preview it. Launch. There we go. There are our instructions. The word next. I press next. It should end. And it does. Go back to the editor. So there's our instructions. They look good. So let's go now to the part where it shows the movies. We will call this trials. This is the first box in the trials will be playing movies. So you click, once you have the trials box created, you click on the plus sign in the middle. And then this first thing will be, we're going to play movies, and movie is not one of the default options. So we're going to choose blank. And then next. We'll just go previous. Choose blank, and then, yeah, okay, rather. Blank, and then okay. Then click on the blank thing that you just created, edit the layout, add a zone. So the first thing that we're going to add will be a movie. So click on it. It's content. We'll only be using content and responsive. That's the only thing that we're going to do this whole lab. So we're going to be adding content, which will be video. Okay, so that's the video. And we need to increase the size of the video to be full screen, so you can adjust how big the size of the video that plays is. We want it to be full screen, so move these dots to make it full screen. Notice how the numbers appear to the left and right of the dots. So 100 is the maximum value, 0 is the minimum value, 0 over here, 100 over here. The middle is 50. So that's the video. We also want to adjust some of the properties for this video. So we're done there. Let's go down to the properties. So we don't want the participant to start it manually. If you leave that 1, we want it to be 0. If you leave it 1, then instead of on each trial, the movie just start playing instantly. The participant has to press play each time, which slows things down needlessly. The default here is good. We want the movie to automatically go to the next thing, which we haven't created yet, when it's done. So we're going to put a 1 right there. So we put a 1 there. When the movie's done, it's going to automatically go to the next thing in the sequence. And then everything else we can leave in the default settings. So let's take a look and see how this, let's take a look at this. Yeah, the movies are not appearing yet, so we need to go to the movie right here, click on it, and then we need to go to the spreadsheet thing right here. So we're using spreadsheet now instead of static, because basically what we're going to do is we're going to create 8 rows in the spreadsheet, and it's going to randomly choose, each row is going to have the name of one of our 8 stimuli. And Gorilla is going to choose randomly one of those 8 rows from the spreadsheet, and on any given trial, that will be the stimulus that's played. So instead of just saying the stimulus name right here, we're going to say, we're going to create a new column in that spreadsheet. So we'll call this column movies. So let's look at the spreadsheet. And now the column movies appears. So we need to create 8 more rows. And below once 1, and below 2, and below 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there should be 9 total rows, because there's 1 already there. Okay, good. So now we need to fill some of this in. So remember, we already have these stimuli right here, and they have names: Bike L, MP4, Chef R, MP4. Those are the movies. We don't want to write them in row 1, because row 1 is the instructions, but we will write them on rows 2 through 9, because those are the trials. They will be the trials. So we'll write in the movies. I'm gonna, let's see. Bike L.mp4, Chef R.mp4. Skip over fixation copy.png, right? Type foot L.mp4. Leaf R.mp4. Mark L.mp4. Ring R.mp4. Silk L.mp4. I missed one. Bike, chef, foot, leaf, mark, ring, silk. No, I didn't. Tree R.mp4. And then finally, we'll have to scroll down to see this last one, I think. What's going on? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I see what I did. Great. I'll have to copy and paste. Yes, I had started on the wrong row, and that messed up things. So that is correct. Here, we'll call this trials. We'll Make this faster by copying and pasting it. The reason these are called trials is because that is called trials. So those are matching up. Spreadsheet, each thing, each cell is called trials, and it knows to play here. So now let's take a look at the movies. So yeah, it's called, the column name is movies, and then movies, and it says the different movies right there. And it's going to, those are displayed in the trials box. So let's see how this works. There's the trials. That's working. Let's stop this. Back to editor. So the movies are now playing. So now we need to add the thing that occurs after the movies. Add a box. This one we can do, we'll start with one of these basic templates, but then we're gonna have to add stuff. So we'll start with image with a button next at the bottom. So click on it, double click it. We'll edit the layout. So the picture is this thing right here. And then this is the next button right here. We want to move the picture to make it so that this is the picture of the fixation point, and we want to make it so the fixation point occurs in the exact same point on the screen as it did in the movies. The movie's perfectly centered. I've done this before, so I know exactly where to put it. This one needs to be, I think it's 30. This one's going to be at 70. This one goes to 70. This usually moves it, yeah. And then this one goes to, it's kind of adjusted slowly here. 30. That's it right there. That one's 30. That one's 70, 70, 30. So these are X and Y dimensions, those 30s and 70s. And that makes it perfectly centered. That's where the fixation point is going to occur. The next button, it's going to be right here. So we need to add two things. We need to add the text box where the participant will type in their responses, and we need to also add in some instructions that will appear as soon as the movie's done. All four of these things are going to appear, including instructions, which are basically just a simplified version of what the participant saw earlier. So let's add those. So add a zone. They always pop up in the middle, so take a look there. Then this is, we'll have to double click on this, and then this is going to be a type of response. And it is a response text entry. This is where the participant can type in the words. Now it's going to appear there. Should be good now. When you do that, by the way, when you click a response thing, it automatically adds a column called answer where you can type in the answer. So let's go ahead and just do that. Bike, chef, foot, leaf, mark, ring, silk, tree. We also want to do that randomized trials things. You saw that for your video that you did for in-class assignment recently. Whoops, that's supposed to be 1. When you type a 1 here, that basically says this is a block of trials, and we want to randomize the order in which these things that all have 1s next to them appear. So the spreadsheet, I think, is done. It means we're almost done. So let's go back to the task. Here's this. So we still need to add the rich text right there. Add zone. We'll move it up to about right there. So it's kind of straddling those other two zones. This one we want to spread all the way to 100 over there and all the way to 0 over there. And then now we'll type in, this is going to be content. So I went fast there. So I double clicked on it. and click on content, and you want to make this rich text, and then press OK. And then I double click on it. Oops, no. Now we have to click on this over here. And then this kind of resets, and then you can click on it again, and now we can change the text right here. So I'm going to steal it again from my earlier one. Copy. Once again, notice the H2s on each side to control the, to change the font size. So go back to the one we're making, copy and paste it right there. Once again, it's static because these appear on every trial, but every time they appear, it's the same thing. The stimuli are from a spreadsheet because those are different and they are randomly determined. The instructions, though, same thing appears on every trial, so it's static. Okay, so let's see how that looks. We might be done. Oh, no, got to do the fixation point. Silly me. That means that there should be a fixation point there. So I did not mean to do that. Skip remaining trials. So, yeah, of course, double fix on the fixation point. So spreadsheet, and we're going to have a column in the spreadsheet. So yeah, we weren't done with the spreadsheet. We needed to add one more column called fixation. Now we go to the spreadsheet. Now there's a column fixation. So here we're going to type in the name of a file which is already in here. It's called fixationcopy.png. Fixationcopy.png. Turn green. Good. That means it recognizes it. Let's just copy and paste it. Because the same thing is going to appear every time. All right. So now let's try and run through this and see how it looks. Didn't see that one at all. Bob. Tree. Chef. Leaf. Mark. Foot. Silk. Bike. Let's look at the file. The data file, clicking on Excel. There it is. What was that first trial that I missed? I put Bob. The correct answer was ring. Not very close. So yeah, there's the correct answer. There's what stimuli that were on each trial. Those are the answers I typed in. So it looks like everything's here. So we are done. Stop recording.